Well, Storm Arwen has left many people facing some of the toughest conditions they've ever experienced. Huge community efforts are continuing to help the most vulnerable. Louise Hosey is live in Lumphanan tonight. Louise, what's the situation there?
Yes, Norman, well, here in Lumphanan, they're still without power, without water, without mobile phone signal. And really, this village is one of many that still effectively has been cut off from the outside world. The village hall here has been open today for people coming in and out to have hot food and drink, and maybe also just to see a friendly face and have a chat. Well, I've been finding out today how communities just like this one have been coping with some of the toughest winter conditions in decades. For the past 3 days, Mark and his 4-year-old son Archie have been delivering food to fellow residents here in Torfins. This afternoon, the village was still without power after the damage caused by Storm Arwen. For many here, the sight of a friendly face has been as welcome as a hot meal.
It's just been absolutely marvellous the way the community has rallied round, like.
Oh yes,
you know.
It's the worst ever I've seen actually since Friday. Like, I mean, there's no power, you couldn't get your phone charged, no communication.
They said the other day there 6 o'clock in the evening, then it was 10 o'clock, then it was 6 o'clock last night, then it was 10 o'clock last night, and it's supposed to be back on today.
Mark has already delivered more than 150 meals. He said he had to help in some way.
It's something I've always been born and bred to do, is to look after folk, you know, and gets a bit upset just seeing the people this morning. You know, it might sound silly, but I'm just grateful I can give back to the community a wee bit. That's all. Sorry there.
That's all right, it's okay.
Just some of the scenes I've seen in the house is terrible. No heat in the houses, and they're shivering, they're freezing, they're crying, and you know, there's no one to help, there's no phones, there's no signals, but I'm just glad I can help there.
As well as food deliveries, this stall was set up where people could swap stories and stay warm.
Very grateful. You know, a few vulnerable people, a few people who managed to get out and they've refused our help. They've just said, look, I can get stuff. So, but yeah, everybody seems to have been very happy that we've came out.
I think we've been at a few old folks' houses here today, care homes in Kemney yesterday. We had old people crying when we were giving them tea, coffee, bacon rolls, wondering what's happening next, and you can't tell them because we don't have a clue, so greatly appreciated. It's just difficult.
A few miles along the road in Lumphanan, there's still no power or water. The village hall has opened as a refuge for those who need it, and the community has also rallied round, delivering water and other supplies. For some, it's been a desperate situation.
We've come across a couple of people who haven't seen anyone for, since the power went out, and they didn't know what was going on. So it's just about the community pulling together and everyone sort of looking out for their neighbours and checking in on them.
Another hall opening its doors was here in Echt. Ricky's mum has been without power since Friday night, so he's brought her here to warm up.
It's somewhere for them to come and keep warm. My mum's probably 3 miles along the road, and it's a lot warmer in here than what it is in her house.
I would say dire, absolutely dire, because they're in their houses, there's no heating, no phones, no nothing. If it isn't for people going in to see if they're okay, they would be really struggling.
The storm has badly affected many areas in the northeast. Those in the worst hit communities say they'll continue to pull together to help anyone in need. Well, as you heard in my report there, for some people it really has been a desperately difficult time. We've heard some stories today of people struggling, many in tears, some unable to contact loved ones and really having to rely on that support from the local community. There's also a feeling in some places that perhaps the response to this storm hasn't been quite as quick as it should have been, with some residents having to take matters into their own hands. Well, it's hoped that power and water here in Lumphanan might be restored by tomorrow, but there are concerns that it may not be until later this week.